Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. All right, Nick Collier here. It's the next day, and we left off by drilling some major pilot holes in this piece of steel. We're about halfway through on this one. We're going to continue with that process, and then, of course, go back in the backside and square up that bottom edge there, and then put the other one on here and do the same thing. Was a 7/8 hole, so we got another eighth to go, and I think I want to, if I can, and I don't know if I have the next size bit, but I think I want to take it to almost an inch and then come back in with my reamer. Well, we're not going to be able to come in with this reamer because it's got a 1 inch shank to it, and my largest collet is 7/8, so that's how that goes. But let's look for some other alternatives. That's 1 1/8. But you know what? I turned this down at one point so that I could get it. Why don't I go ahead and turn the other one down? And amazingly enough, they're both reasonably sharp. So I think what I'm going to do is come in and turn this down to 7/8. And then I'll be able to run it with my Bridgeport. Oh, but first we're going to drill this a little bit bigger. How about 15/16? Not bad. All right, let's give that a try. Okay, let's go over to the lathe and turn this down to 7/8. Okay, we got our piece in, we got it squared up. And we're going to take about this much off, and you know, this is pretty heavy duty steel, probably A2, maybe something high carbon like that. And so the only thing that's really going to cut it reasonably is an insert. So we're going to go ahead and do this with the ceramic insert. And we're just going to take a little bit on this first couple of cuts. All right, so if we're going to 7/8, we're at 8.75, and right now we're at 9. We're at 1 inch. Wait a second, that's not right. A couple thousandths under an inch. So we got a bit to do. So we'll take 50 to start with. Okay, so let's go ahead and we got this thing in and cranked up. That's our cutting direction. Do a bunch of oil on it. And we're just going to go down and take that last 16th, and even less than that, I think. Of course, you're not going to be able to see it if I'm in the way there. Oops. We're all the way down. Okay, let's give it another try. And I'm thinking we can kick that automatic in play. Okay, so the Bridgeport. My table won't go over this far, and so the only other approach to do with that. Well, let's just take the table over as far as we can get it, at least. We'll get it over there, and we'll see where we're at, and then all we have to do is swing the head over to match the table. Keep coming. All right, so that's about as far as we can go there. So we're still a good 6 or 8 inches out. So we just kind of break the rotating head. Okay, so just a quick chamfer or a bevel on the hole, just to soften it up and make sure nobody gets cut. Flip it over and do the same thing. No sweat. All right, we're going to put that one away and get the other one. Okay, we're all prepped and set to go. We got our pieces up in the air, and what we're going to do is disconnect the hook, put a pin through it, get everything settled in place, and then clamp it down and then weld it. Why not? Okay, well, we've got the thing on, we've got it squared up, we've got it squared this way, we've got it squared that way, and everything's ready. All we have to do now is weld it, and I'm a little freaked out because if you weld down in this corner here, this is going to want to come this way, and if you weld over in this corner, it's going to want to go that way, And we have to keep this pin as straight as possible in order to be able to take it in and out. But I think we're going to be okay. I'm going to weld this little piece of steel right on the top of here first. Just 2 quick welds just to lock this in, make sure it's perfect, and then we'll come in and weld the bottom ones. But before we do anything, we have to preheat. And that's going to take a little bit. Basically a little tack. Yeah, and already it's risen. Okay, well, it'll be good. Alright, we got a good solid connection there. Now we'll come in and we're just going to throw a couple of tacks in each one of these corners, and that'll get us locked in, hopefully. Does the pin still turn? No. Oh yes, it does. Okay. All right, we're going to put another tack right in here. Turn the vent on. Yeah, pin's still turning. So far, so good. Nick Collier here, and we got the ram in place. The single pin is up above, everything's all set up there. It took a bit, and of course I didn't film it because, I don't know, I lost the camera, and yeah, there are tons of excuses. But it's in place and it's ready to go. Now, the next step in this whole process is I'm going to bring you in a little closer for that. Okay, and by the way, I pulled the clevis off of this side, and when I pulled it off, I mean, it came off super hard. I literally had to have about a 6-foot steel bar out on the end, and I was just like leaning on it in order to get it to pop. When it finally popped, it took all the threads with it. Damn. But whatever. We can adapt to that. So I've got a 3-inch piece of 8620 coming 3 inches deep. That's going to give me a platform to push down with, and the 8620 will heat treat very well. You know, I can heat treat it or not heat treat it really, because I could replace it fairly easily. At this point, what we have to do, the hydraulic ram is perpendicular to the room. Now the problem is that it pendulums. So we somehow have to get this thing locked in place so that it'll stay in one place right in the center and push down and not end up flipping off to one side or the other. So that's going to be pretty easy, I believe, but you can tell. We're going to bring you in a little closer for that. So we're going to take a plate of steel, and I have that plate. I just found it just a few minutes ago. A little piece of 1/4 inch. Well, might not even be 1/4 inch. But all we're doing is holding it from going sideways. So that's no problem. So I think what we're going to do is take this plate. Can you see it? No, you can't. All right. Let's... I'll talk about this a little bit. We're going to come in with this plate and cut a piece that's going to push up against the roundness of this, and maybe even hold this a little bit too, because we've got just a little bit of movement that way too. You can kind of see it. So basically it's going to be a clamp that's going to clamp to this cylinder. Now, let's go down below and see what that's going to look like. All right, this is the way I see it. We're going to come in halfway and cut that piece of steel in half, and then, in fact, before we cut it in half, we're going to do a hole, either bore out the hole or something that's the exact size of the ram, and then cut out the notches for the bolts, and then come in and cut it in half, and probably figure out some way of clamping these two halves together, and then bolting that. In fact, we already have a couple of bolt holes, so we'll just put a couple more bolt holes here and here and here and here, and that'll hold it to the frame of the press, and then probably some kind of clamp here, you know, maybe a bolt nut sort of thing. I'm not sure just yet, but on both sides. So it'll be here and here that will clamp into that circle, make sure it gets, you know, grips the hydraulic ram, and then set this up and bolt it to the frame, and we're set to go. We'll be back. We'll start out by laying out the circle and drilling a hole in the center, and then I'm not sure how we're going to get this to cut out. Maybe put it on the rotary table, maybe just do a, let's see, what would be easier? The rotary table probably be easier because I've got to put these notches in too, and I could calculate those notches easier with the table. So we're going to go ahead and put the rotary table on here, and we'll be back. Well, no, you can watch. Hey, it's a rotary table. Okay, well, since accuracy is not super critical here, we're just going to go point to point up on the head and just bring them up so they line up, and then we're pretty well set. All we're trying to do is get a hole in here at an exact circumference or diameter, and it doesn't matter where it's placed on the piece of steel, because all of that's going to get dealt with once we start drilling holes in the press. So let's come up with our thread follower, tighten that up. Bring this down. Get my cheater specs. And that looks pretty tight. We'll call that 0 on the DRO. Bring this back up. Get rid of our center. Well, actually, we're going to need that a little bit longer, now that I think of it. All right, so we're going to take our plate of steel, put it on this baby. We need to jack this up just a bit. All right, let's jack it up a lot. Pretty good. Let's find our center point. Oops. Line that up, and I'd say we are set to go. Now, the thing is there's not a whole lot of room to grip this, but I think we're going to be okay. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so we're looking for a size, and we're going to bring this this caliper out and drag it in until it starts to rub, and it's just a little bit shy of rubbing. And then I have a fine adjustment in here. Where's it at? There it is. Oh, we got to go a little bit further. There we go. And we got a pretty good measurement right there. Let's use that. All right, and again, we're not going for super accurate here, so A set of veneer calipers will probably do the trick. Bring our veneers in. I'd say that's about it. So we're looking at 4,330. All right, so that would be 2, 150, and 15 right there. And we're going to take that out to about right there and scribe it. I think I better mark it better here. All right, so there's our line. Well, the other thing we can do is take it out on the DRO. Yeah, let's do that. Well, first thing we're going to do is come out and drill a hole fairly close to that line, just so we can get our mill bit in there. So let's take that out. Need to come down a little further. Somewhere in there. Okay. Measure our mill bit. I'm guessing a quarter. It is a quarter. So put that up in here. Well, actually, let's put a collet in there. Now, so we are now at 187. We won't want to go to 2, 150, and 40. So 2, 150, and 40, which would be 190. Lock our gibs, because that's going to change everything. 184. There's 90. All right, that's going to be a little bit further than I'd planned. So what we'll do, oh no, minus 250. So 190 to 190 minus 250 would be 125. So 90 80 70 65. And that puts us in a better position. Okay, now we just start around.